Hi, I'm Gary Jenkins, and I thought I'd come on here and thank you all for purchasing my video. Buy me a glass of wine. Anyway, this video, the painting I'm going to be doing for you, I know it's a little advanced. It has a lot of stuff in it that it's not really conventional, where I'm throwing paint on and spattering paint. But this is more of a fine art approach, I guess, to doing floral painting. I have a lot of my paintings in a fine art gallery here. They're pricey little guys, but people are buying them, and I'm thankful for that. But try some of this technique. I think you'll find that it's really fun to do. So let's get started, and let's look at this as sort of an adventure, a journey that I'm going to take you all through this painting. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. What I have on my palette is acrylic. This is black, white, cerulean blue, and a little touch of yellow. The brand I use is called Liquitex. It's a little less expensive than the other brands. It comes in a very large tube, and I use this just about all of the time. Okie dokie, and I use a paper palette down here. The brush is about, a little less than ½ an inch, just to apply the acrylic. And let's come on up and let's get started with that glass vase. Okay, now you notice the background. I already have some gray back here. That's a gray acrylic, and I put it on with a large, just any old painting brush, about a 2-inch wide brush, and that's acrylic, and it's dry. And the first thing we're going to do is take our black, and we're going to go in here, and let's place that right in here. It's very dry. We're going to come on up. Let me back up a little bit here. You can see the painting that I'm working from over here. We're going to take this on up. I'm going to dip in the water just to get a little, got a little drippy going. There'll be plenty of that happening. Come on up. Notice it's very loose, very loose. This is where creativity lives and all this wonderful loose stuff. Got some stems coming down. So we're painting the inside of the vase first. A little dark right in here. And our beautiful rose will go right in here, but since this will be dry later, we don't have to worry about the El Roso picking up a lot of the black we're putting on. That's why we use acrylic. This is just an underpainting. On it goes. Now the edges are very important that we're putting on here. That's this edge here. So we're going to soften that, and what I use is a bottle, a spray bottle. We're going to use that, and we're going to give it not too much water, just a couple squirts. That's just enough to wet it down. And you can see how our strokes, or the value, gets much lighter because the water has thinned down the acrylics. No biggie. We're going to take some of that, pull it over this way. And in order to tie that into the background, I'll take my towel. Maybe I'll dip the towel into some water. Yeah. And get some, if you get a few drippies in there, that's okay. And we'll get up in here. And just kind of loosen there. Yowie! Just loosen that edge up. There is a stem that kind of comes up, way up here. And maybe just a feeling of some leaves, nothing much going on. And then we're going to take, I forgot to put out, let me reach over here, get some sienna. Put that out on my palette. And we're going to take some sienna and just kind of warm it up a little bit. Maybe a feeling of some leaves coming out. Notice how I roll the brush, roll the brush. It's all this little stuff you want, especially over here. I'm going to give that a squirt. Remember, we want kind of a watercolory look. And don't squirt it too much. And that water, just a little acrylic with the water, gives us illusion of stuff. I'm going to give that another squirt. 2 squirts. And down we go. Let's get down there and see what's going on. Inside we get a feeling of, yeah, the word is feeling. Feeling. What is feeling? What does that mean? Just kind of an indication that there's maybe some leaves or something in there. We don't really know. It's something. People that view your painting, their imagination will work. Yeah, look at it come out. Very loose, very free. Maybe we'll squirt that right in here. Yeah. And grab what was there, kind of pull it out. Sometimes you can just hit it with your towel. Yeah, just so it looks like junk in there. Little runnies will happen. Pretty good. Doesn't take much, does it? Ooh, let's go up to the top. I got some good stuff to show you up here. Way up here. Again, I'm going to squirt it. Squirt. Usually it takes only 2 squirts. And just a little paint. Now notice the brush rolling along. See, we want just the hint of stuff. Maybe, oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Just oh, yeah, look at that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let the brush work for you. Now I'm going to do something that's going to really be cool. I'm going to take a larger brush. This is about a 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. Pick up some water and some black and sienna, mostly water. And I'm going to hit it. Can you see that? I know. Notice how some go this way, this way, this way. Now, you're going to look at the bottom here, because you're going to see it's pretty messy down there, especially with this guy coming down. But don't get rid of all of them. Zowie. There's a top of the vase will be right about in here, but we'll find that later on. Maybe we'll just go in now and find some leaves. Reinstate that stem. There's another stem here that goes up to a bud, way up at the top. You see how loosey-goosey all this is? Some of the runs you might want to get rid of. Especially, I like this guy, but I don't think it'll work in there. So we get rid of that. And we'll come down to the bottom. Boy. And get rid of some of that. Loose, loose, loose and free, loose and free. I want to take a little of my yellow and cerulean blue and just get a little feeling of a leaf in there. Remember, we're painting the stuff that's going to be inside the vase. Maybe some of that green down here, where our bud's going to be. Okie dokie. Any drippies? Remember, drippies work with paintings that are more like natural. It doesn't quite work when you have flowers in a vase. Only when it looks like they're in a garden, then the drippies work. Okie dokie. Again, come down to the bottom, get rid of some of that. Okay. We're going to take very wet. We're going to come back up. I'm going to get in there real close, see if we can get it right in this area and hit it. You see it? You see that? Do you see that stuff? But you have to work wet. Oh, there, now it's going. Look at those. Yes, yes. Now, you can't paint that stuff. Or at least people think you do, but we won't tell them our secret. Notice again, this way, this way, this way. Not just, don't want a bunch of soldiers. Let's play. We'll play like a child in a sandbox. Yellow, white. Nothing. Sometimes nothing comes off. That means your brush isn't wet enough. Funsies. And the gallery paintings I do that sell for those big bucks, this is exactly what I do. And the people love it because it's natural, it's free. And the people see this freedom. Layering one layer on top of another. I'm looking at it and I'm going, whoa, this is looking a little crazy. But that's what you want. A little lighter yellow, white, just a hint in there, not much. Our beautiful rose. Let's take a look at the painting. This rose right here. This guy's going to go in, and then these little yellow buds. So we're just setting the stage for all this stuff to happen. I think next we'll probably do the vase. Now you can get carried away and get too much in there. We want to stop while we're ahead. Anyway, this is acrylic and we have to let that dry because the rest we're going to do in oil. Okie dokie, let's get started on our glass vase up here. First of all, I only put out a few colors. At the end of the video, I'll put up a list of all the colors you guys need so you can write it down. Right now, I don't want to put all the colors out because it can get a little confusing. So these are just the colors I'm going to use. This is oil. And let's see if I can see this. Orange, cadmium orange, cadmium light, yellow. I've taken black and white and mixed up a gray. Maybe it doesn't show it's gray, but it is. White, cerulean blue, and just black right out of the tube. And again, that's ivory black, and it's oil paint. Okie dokie. Now, I'm using some odorless thinner. I'm going to take the gray, and let's test it up here. It needs to be a little bit darker. There it is. And on it goes. Maybe I'll pull the camera over because you might not see what I'm doing there. Yeah, that's better. Right on up. Sometimes you're going to use your finger to pull it up. And across. Now it gets a little darker as it comes down to the bottom. Again, this is good old oil paint. And that's acrylic, so that's dry down there. More black. I want it really dark down here. Okie dokie. Oh boy, look at that. Don't get rid of all of it. See how that just pushes that stuff back underneath. El Glasso. A little more gray up here. And watch me take a swipe across. Very light. Okay, I think I'm going to bring out these stems a little bit more. Kind of got lost in there. Cool. And then let's take a swipe across. There, but don't, very light, very light. And I use, in a minute, I'll be using my finger to blend with. Gonna get darker down here. finger. Still, I'm losing my stems. Okay, I'm going to pick some white up on my finger. Wipe your finger and then pull it out. I had this up on Facebook. Remember, this is round. Very light touch. Still with the finger. Again, I prefer finger to a brush, blending brush. Now, that's our main light right there. There is maybe a hit right there. Another hit over here. You just have to kind of get in there and mess with it until you get what you want. Bring that stem out more here. Now I'm going to take some cerulean blue and white. Cerulean blue and white. A little more white. Some of the lights are just very subtle. Well, going to take more white, and then when I take white, it's very dry. Just the side of the brush. Wow, I'm going to hit that and pull it down. Ooh, put it on, take it off. Put it on, take it off. Now we're going to take our orange and red, cad red light. It's going to be some reflected light. There's going to be a bud over here. So this might look a little strange to you right now. Yowie, that's glowy. And there's going to be a bud down here, so we're going to catch a little light right there. How are we doing? Looking good. I'm going to take some of that gray because it looks like it needs to come down. Just a little in there. Doesn't take much to do this guy. Boy, that's really shining. Not too bad. Now we're going to take a little of that cad red light and white, very dry. Very dry, just sort of very lightly hit it. There's going to be a reflection from our beautiful rose coming in right in there. Now we're going to take down below and we're going to hit some white. Zowie. Very dry. And then we'll tickle those edges out. Not with a blender, but with your finger. Now we have good excuse to put that little light. Maybe I don't have it in the other painting, but I just maybe a touch of blue. Very soft edges. It's blue. It's a cool color, and oh, look at that. Goes right into shadow beautifully. Let's pick up some of that. That very dry brushy. Just a hint. I'm going to bring my little stems that keep wanting to go bye-bye. Boy, we got lucky on this guy. Went in. The gods have smiled on me. And we got a little brush, yellow and orange, way up at the top, right about in here. It's slightly curved. Oh, you can't see that. It's slightly curved. And it gets a little darker as it goes around. And that'll be the top of the vase. A little yellow and white. I really want to pop that. And a little of that light. Oh, yeah. Coming on down. We'll see if we can keep that in there without losing it. And our leaves will come down here and cover that edge up. You can't see that. Yeah, boy, that's really glowy. White again, with a little round brush. You see how those little lights are so important? Right in here, our bud's going in there, so we don't have to worry about that edge. And maybe we just need to straighten it up a little down here. Black. All right, now I want to lose this edge here. I'll put more black in there. Yeah, I want that just to go right into dark. Add a little mystery to that edge. Okie dokie, I think we'll leave that alone for now and let it dry up a little. We'll probably go for our little bud on the bottom in a minute, and we can always go back to that vase. We'll just don't want to overwork it. It's so easy to get in and think, oh, it needs this and it needs that, when all you did was overwork it. All right. Okay, I'm just taking a look at it right now. Let's leave it alone. And we got our stems in. They look like they're under the glass. That's what we want. We got some good punchy color going. And let's get into that little rosebud. So I'm going to name off the colors that we'll be using. We're going to paint our little bud in first. And let me run around here and show you what we have. We have titanium white, cad red light, Grumbacher red, cad yellow light. That's cad red light, yeah. Cobalt blue, cadmium orange, and alizarin crimson. Let me go through that again. Titanium white, cad red light, Grumbacher red, yellow, cad yellow light, cobalt blue, orange, crimson. Okie dokie, now we're going to pull this camera on up and take a peek at what's going on. I'm going to move this camera over a little so it might wiggle a little. Here's the bud that we're going to put in right here. And it's going to go right down in here. So let's put our stem in. I use odorless thinner. I'll take a little yellow in our cobalt blue. Kind of makes a green. And starting with the edge of the brush, we're going to just kind of, don't put it in straight, but it kind of wiggles a little bit. Goes right in there. Woo! Let's see if we can get in there a little closer. I'm going to start the bud with crimson, very dry, right in here. It's sort of a ragged tip there. Comes on back, kind of a curvy look. So we start out with that dark first. Maybe a little darker back there. Then we're going to go in with our cad red light, very dry, so it sticks to the surface. I'm going to wipe the brush, too much paint on there, and pull it around the rest of the way. Very light stroke when you go back into the dark. And you can see that that old bud's just about there. We're going to have a Grumbacher red we'll put in there. Very dry. Doesn't take that much. We're going to open up the inside with our crimson, just with the tip of the brush. A little darker. Yeah. And we have some yellow and blue. We have a little green coming out from there. A little more yellow, bring it out more. Maybe another little guy right here. Nice and loose and free. And we're going to take our cad red light and a touch of white. I want to pop that just a little bit more. Yeah. And I'm going to take crimson and cobalt blue, make it dark. See if we can get kind of a shadow back there. Yeah. And there is a little leaf that comes off of that little guy. Right in there. Notice we don't want to smooth it out, but leave some texture showing. There's a little leaf coming in right in here. Get that guy in there. It's just kind of, the leaf is just kind of there. Yeah, cool. Now, let's see what else we have. Well, that went right in. And that stem way in the back here, we might want to darken that up a little. And put some kind kind of kill that white just a little bit. Might be too white. Well, all right. Let's get more of a shadow. A crimson and our cobalt blue. Just kind of a shadow underneath there. Okie dokie. Now let's come on up. We'll take a look at the painting we're doing. We got this little guy right here we're going to put in. Right in here. Oh, by the way, while I was off camera, I straightened up the top of the vase because it got a little weird looking. So I cut in here a little black or green, whatever you want to use, black and yellow, whatever, and get that dark in there. And I cut in here just a little bit. And I pulled this over a little bit. So the top was a little out of whack there. Now we're going to take our crimson, and all the big rose that's going to be going in here is done the same way, but we're going to come in here with crimson, very dry, and in it goes, and it's going to overlap that vase just a little bit. I know it's very dark. Drawing is so important, guys. Maybe we'll get in a little closer for you. Very, very dry. We don't care what's happening inside, it's just the outside edge. And in it goes. Now, I know it's dark, but it'll show up for you in a minute. I'm going to fuzz that out back with my finger. Now we'll take our cad red light, very dry. And when you first put it on, it's very light, isn't it? But as we push it around, it'll get darker. So you see how we can see inside. Maybe we'll take the edge of the brush. Kind of very important, the blending process. Yeah. Maybe a petal coming down there. Now I'm going to take our white and cad red light. Very light touch. And by using our finger, it softens the bud so it's not so hard looking. I think the softening is just as important as anything else. Take a little more white with our cad red light. And it just comes up a value. And much of it is just indicated. And then let's kind of back up. We do have a reflection. Very dry. Very light touch. And we build up to just a little shot of light. Oh yeah, look at that. Ooh. Yes. Oh. I'm going to take our Grumbacher red. Grumbacher red is probably one of the truest reds you'll find out there. And you can get it online from Dick Blick. Grumbacher red. Beautiful red. You see that? You see that little touch? Maybe a little bump. Yeah. Then we have our cobalt blue and yellow. And we have a leaf. Very dry. Try to keep my hand out of here. a leaf coming out of there that overlaps. That bud just a little. Maybe we overlapped it too much. Yeah. And we're going to carry that greenery back here. Just kind of hit it. We'll get a little more cobalt in there. We want it to look like there's a lot of junk floating around in there. We'll get in there and see what's going on in there. What is happening? I'm just giving the illusion that there's something. Oh, there's a stem coming down. Yeah. Nice curve to that. Well, we got lucky. We'll get more stuff going in a little bit. There's a stem here for a bud, and there's a little stem right in here. Now, let's back up. Ooh, wrong way. See what we have. Look at that. Woo, woo, woo. Looks like I have a little more light in there, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get this guy in. This is our prima donna. Prima donna. That little guy right there is going to go right in here. So how do we start this guy? Again, I have to stress drawing, drawing, drawing. I'm always saying, I sound like a broken record. We're going to take some of our crimson, maybe a little Grumbacher red with the crimson, very dry. Boom. We only care about the outside edge. Yep. And it's turned this way. Now you might put a little turp with it. And when I say a little, it just means just the corner of the brush. And this is the base tone. Basically, it's round. Yeah. Then we're going to take more crimson, just crimson. That goes right in the center. Makes that nice dark in there. And she's sitting there waiting to have his little face painted. We're going to take our white, cobalt blue, and white. Little touch of terp, odorless terp. And let's get in here and see what happens. There's the belly of the rose right there. Push down, come in, paint back in. Sometimes you're using the side of the brush. And you can see, just with that little bit, I can see that rose just sitting in there. This is a cobalt blue, a little touch of white. It's a nice, cool color. We're establishing our light side and our dark side. We're going to take a little more of our alizarin, very dry, because I want it dark in here. Without those darks, you won't have any light showing. Now, take a minute, take a peek at just what is happening. We're building a house. This is the foundation. You can't just go on top and start picking those light petals out. You build it a step at a time. Cobalt blue and white, nice cool white. And we're going to take our white with a little touch of orange in it, not much. I'm going to take my finger that's the belly part of the rose. Now you can see that rose is sitting in there. All it really needs now is a little more detail. Zowie. Watch me run this down and tuck it under and then paint back. And there's a petal. There's a petal edge. Oh, look at that. Can you see it happening? I know, you're going, yeah, easy for you. And if you crash and burn, and you might, and it happens, just hang in there, or even wipe it off and have at it again. Way in here, very light touch. Try to keep my hand out of here. I'm just using the bottom of the brush. Loosey-goosey, loosey-loosey. I want it to look like there's a lot of petals in there. A lot of petals, but we're just indicating that there's a lot of petals. A lot of things happening there are in the they're in there and they're very subtle, sneaking up on that light. See how I can just come down and indicate there's a petal? Now, very important, using your finger, and I'm going to soften these edges out into the background. See it happening? So when you soften an edge, it makes it recede into the background. And you can soften and then go back in and hit it. Light here, here. So the light sort of spills around. So it's the little subtle stuff that makes it. I know you want to paint. You see, it's not what you do, it's what you don't do. And what is it that you don't do? You don't go and show every single petal. Because if you look at a rose, you see too much. And you try to paint all that. And then it gets so busy that the rose is lost inside of all its petals. It's a feeling we're painting, a feeling. We sneak up on those lights. Well, those little shots got a little light, so just take your finger and knock them back down. Well, let's see how that guy works. There's that one over there. He's a little looser, but when I'm showing you what to do, I have a tendency to tighten up too much. And I see, well, this is good for you to see. You see this, there's one, two, they're a little bit too repetitive. Knock some of those out of there. Don't want to line them up like a bunch of soldiers. And back here, I'm going to really have to push down hard. Now look at that. You see how that just fuzzed out? Which emphasizes the light. I'm going to pull this together. Got too many of those little guys. A good rule of thumb is when light hits a subject, it has a tendency to wipe out the darks in between. And that's how you get a feeling of light hitting. Oh, it's the last strokes that make the painting. So the last thing we do, we're going to pull these lights together more. There you go. Now we're cooking. We got a nice light feel. I want to take some of that blue, cobalt blue. Ooh, boy, when you get the wrong color on there, it really tells you that's the wrong color. My hand will be in the way, so I'm going to wipe that out of there. Yeah, well, just a hint if it stayed, and that's nice. Hunky dokie. And right down below, let's get some of that cad red light white. Very light touch, because it's pretty kind of dry down there. Very light touch. Finger. Maybe some of that light spills across, that pink. You see that, how that gives you the feeling of an edge of a petal, just catching the light. Again, we're painting a feeling. You just keep working, you keep working. It's always the next painting you do that's going to be the best one. That's the beauty of painting, because it makes you strive to be the best you can. It ain't easy. Well, the choice is always ours. Do you want to just be mediocre? Because the brain doesn't care. Or do you want to be one of the best floral painters out there? Choice is always yours. It's easy to say, oh, this is too hard. Oh, and you complain. And again, in goes the finger to soften this out. Now, I'm just getting a feeling. There's some leaves jumping around the back. Darken that up. Maybe some smaller leaves right in there. Sometimes you're just going to hit it, just to make it look like there's stuff in there. I gotta put out a little more of our cobalt blue on the palette. Got a little too light in there. That's better. Notice how I just hit it. I can't stress enough how important those edges are. So we have a stem there. We're going to have a bud right about here. And another bud here. That's my cobalt blue I'm using. Cobalt blue. I'm looking at it to make sure that we have it pretty well balanced out. Just an indication, guys, don't get carried away. Want to make sure our painting is getting that love and feeling that we're after. Just barely see these things going in, a feeling, there's that word again, a feeling of leaves. Boy, I think I'm going to take a little of that cobalt blue and do our little drippy thing way up here. Can you see that go in? You see it? Oop. How important these drippies are. Well, they're not really drippies. It's more of a spatter. Maybe some crimson up in here. Oh, crimson in our cobalt. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I like that kind of a reddish leaves. Creativity lives. This is where we're getting creative. Notice the curve. I'm going to carry some of that red. Right off your screen, I'll carry it. Look at that. There's this junk in there. But really, it's nondescript. It's not taking our eye away from our rose. Oh, look at that petal. Each painting you do will be a challenge for you. Don't settle for mediocre. There's enough of that mediocre stuff going on out there. I see it on Facebook. People teaching painting, and the students holding up their paintings, and the paintings are terrible. And then they get likes. Oh, you're doing so wonderful. Oh, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Who are they kidding? Now, look at that. On top of all that junk, we just brought out something that you can hang your hat on. Hang your hat on. Study nature. Oh, look at that. Study nature. Nature is your best teacher. You see that little spattering in there? It could be anything. Don't get carried away with too much. Because too much is too much. Yeah. How's that bud looking down there? That's cool. How's our painting? Here's the one we're working from. And they all turn out a little different, guys. That's the beauty of it. We're not doing cookie cutter paintings. We're one painting Looks pretty much like the last one. We're always striving to be better. We'll just get a hint of some leaves jumping, something happening down there. Some little ghosty leaves coming out. I'm just standing back, looking at this guy. We're going to put some buds in. Way up here. Remember those buds that we have? These little yellow guys, see them? We're going to put those right in here. I didn't want to put red buds in, that's too much red. So this kind of breaks it up. We're going to take some orange. We're going to have a bud right about here. Round the belly off. Orange, and we have another one way up here. Make sure the bottom is round. And then we'll take our yellow, maybe a touch of white. Put the same thing down here. And don't smooth it out. Buds have a lot of texture. Let that brush work for you. A little more orange down here. And we're going to put cobalt blue and crimson, make our dark. And we have a little green over the top. And our cobalt blue and crimson again. Well, that stem got a little wide on me. So I'm going to take that. My hand will be in the way. Wipes out everything else around it. Put it back in. And let's get that stem back in a little skinnier, thinner. Yeah. The yellow kind of adds a nice touch to the painting. And when you reach the point of finishing up, try not to overload it with too much stuff. Okie dokie. Well, I think that's kind of cool. I'll take a look at it, see if we need to do any more to it. But at the end of the video, I will post up here all the colors that it takes to do this painting at the end. So at the end of the show, you can kind of pause it and write down the colors that you feel you need. God, that bud down there really looks great with that light. It's dramatic. We want dramatic touches. Boom. Rose is working. Nice and loose and free. This guy's working. That's working. Make sure when you do your background, it's acrylic, and it's black and white, and try to match that value. It's probably about a number 3, 4 value that's in here. So I want to take a minute, check out the video, and check the painting out, and see if it needs anything else, or we just might leave it. I'm not sure, but I'll see you in just a little bit. I see I need to do a little bit more here on this little guy. I'm going to take a little dark crimson and red, and right in here I'm going to push that back a little. That's better. And get some paper towels. And a little red and white. I'm going to bring another petal up this way. That looks better. Come on down this way. That's good. And maybe another shot right here. Okay. And maybe another something here. You never know. That's why it helps to get away from your paintings for a while. Come back and take a peek at what's going on. With a fresh eye. Yep, indicating just a few more petals. It was just a little lacking in there. The little stuff that counts. And the paint has tacked up a little bit, so it's letting me get a few more layers in there. That's why you have to just sometimes stop and just take a peek. At what you're doing. Because you work so long on a painting that you no longer see what's going on. Now it's got that look. Get more of a feeling of light hitting up here. Light's popping too much. Boy, we have a prima donna here. Take some of that nice cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is a nice cool blue. Get a little more pink down here. Now I'm happy with it. Yes. Maybe I'm gonna come up to the top. Right in this area right here. Take a little more white and pink. Plenty of terp. Woohoo! So now that's cool. If you any of those little shots got on your rose, just wipe them back. All right, take some yellow and that cobalt blue. Nothing comes off. It's not wet enough. Anything on your rose, wipe them off. If you get too many of those, just hit it a little bit. I like that little bit of pink up there. Let's see how that works. Works with the whole thing. Very nice. It could be baby's breath. It could be anything in there. Let people's imaginations work. Okie dokie. I think we're looking good. What I'm going to do now is put a list up here for you to look of all the colors. Now, if I leave some colors off on my list, it's mentioned during the video. But I think we did a pretty good job. Well, there you are. I hope you all out there enjoyed the video I made for you. We're getting some rain and I hear some thunder out there, so it might be picked up on my mic. I'm not sure. But anyway, take your time with the painting. If you're going to do the painting, watch it several times over. Pay attention to the detail. And I will put up a list of the colors at the end, right after I'm on, so that you might pause it and then write down the colors. I don't know if I have all the colors on there, but if not, I mention them on the video. Anyway, thanks for buying me a glass of wine. Tell your friends out there about these videos. I appreciate that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Look for on the end a list of the colors, the acrylics and the oils. And I will see you guys next time on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.